The most meaningful experiences and discussions in my life center on understanding purpose. Remember when we were in high school in algebra class and we were memorizing the quadratic equation and solving for variables? I asked myself, what is the purpose of this? It wasn't until later I realized and discovered that maybe the purpose of algebra for me was to teach me how to think logically. And at CalPERS, we have a shared purpose with you. We serve those who serve California. And specifically, we make pension payments to you, your coworkers, and your beneficiaries. Recently, we've had a focus on strengthening the fund. So today, I want you to understand what we're doing to strengthen the fund, what you can do to explain it to others, and how this ensures that your pensions will be paid. I had a friend ask me, Tim, why does the cost of pensions continually increase? It seems like you know what the cost will be, so why can't there just be a static rate? And maybe you've had that same question, or maybe you've thought of that yourself. Well, here's what we can tell them. At CalPERS, we have a primary task, and it is to make pension payments forever. And we're able to make these pension payments from three sources: investment returns, contributions from employers, and contributions from employees. And over the majority of CalPERS history, these three sources have been more than enough to help us make these pension payments. But there's been some changes recently that make things a little more challenging. Life expectancy has improved. In 2007, men were living to be around 80 years old. Now, they live to be around 82 years old. While women, over the same time period, were living to be around 84, now they're living to be around 85 years old. And what seems to be a very good thing for all of us is actually a challenge for the system. If you were to figure out the amount of money required to make these additional payments over that time period system-wide, you would see that's a lot. Our average monthly pension payment has increased over 35%, from around $1,900 per month to around $2,600 per month. Active employees of state, schools, and public agencies contribute to the pension fund, as do their employers, while retirees do not. They draw a pension. And in 2001, for every 2 employees contributing to the fund, we had 1 retiree who was not. Today, that number has decreased down to 1.3 active employees and employers contributing to the fund for every 1 retiree. But the most meaningful change I can think of is that investment market conditions have changed dramatically. We're expecting lower long-term returns on almost all our asset classes. So, in December 2016, we decided to lower the discount rate, 0.5% over 3 years, from 7.5% to 7%. This was a big decision to lower the discount rate. So why would we lower the discount rate? And what is the discount rate? Well, the discount rate is represented by R, and it's the real rate of return plus inflation used to calculate the present value of future cash flows. That's really helpful, right? Well, I believe it's this discount rate definition confusion that is a source of a communication problem we have. It prevents us from clearly communicating on this issue. So think of it this way. The discount rate is what we expect to earn on our investments. The discount rate is what we expect to earn on our investments. So why would we lower what we expect to earn on our investments? Well, you could demonstrate it on a napkin or a piece of paper. Our investment office collaborates with a wide variety of investment experts from all around the world. And they do their very best to determine our short and our long-term expected rate of return. over decades. We're long-term investors. And for quite some time, our short-term expected rate of return has been right around 7%. For about 10-year return, 7%. So you could draw a line right in the middle of your paper, 7%. While our long-term expected rate of return has been around 8%. You could draw a line right at the top of your paper, 8%. So it makes sense that our discount rate, or what we expect to earn on our investments, has been 7.5%, right in the middle. It makes sense visually, and it's supported mathematically. But recently, our expected rate of return, short term, has dropped all the way down to around 6%. While our long-term expected rate of return is still up around 8%, but you can see that 7.5% is just too high. So we lowered our discount rate, or what we expect to earn on our investments, to 7%, right in the middle. This makes sense visually, and the math supports this decision. So, ideally, our investment returns need to equal, our pension benefit payments need to equal our investment returns, plus our contributions from employers and the contributions from employees. But recently, they have not. In fact, in fiscal year 2016, we paid over $20 billion in pension payments, but we only brought in $16 billion. So we were short $4 billion. We had to sell investments to make our pension payments. Now, this is not an ideal long-term situation for CalPERS. We want to balance our assets and liabilities. So if we reduce the amount of money we expect to bring in from investments, then we need to increase the amount of money we expect to bring in from employer and employee contributions. But we cannot increase employee contributions because those are set through statute and collective bargaining. But we can increase employer contributions, and unfortunately, we've had to do that. So if we reduce the amount of money we expect to bring in from investments, we need to increase the amount of money we expect to bring in from investments, or from contributions. Now, this balances the fund. This gives us strength. Balance is strength. When we balance that, balance is strength, and that's what strengthens the fund. So remember, we're expecting lower long-term returns on our investments. So we had to reduce the discount rate, which means we expect to bring in a little bit less from investments, so we need to bring in more from contributions. This balances the fund. So now you understand what we did to strengthen the fund and why we made the discount rate change. This helps us accomplish our purpose of ensuring your pension payments will be made forever. Thank you.